His difficulties for a musician is that if he works with a band that becomes extraordinarily successful, for example, I had a similar problem with Yes, as did Steve Hackett with Genesis, then people always tend to keep coming and harping back on the past, and sometimes forget about the amount of work that he's done after that. And in fact, a lot of music gets lost on the way. Steve's proved that by playing with us today. I learnt a lot about Steve because I'm on the same record label with Charisma. Did you actually have a hard time, first of all, when you left?
Well, when I left, it was funny because it was like, when you leave a band, you know, that band is like a sort of well-oiled machine. You have everything which is kind of natural, you know, you have all the outlets, you have the record company which takes care of you, you have the management which takes care of you, the road crew that take care of you. And in terms of energy, a band, I suppose, it's easy when you're feeling tired, you can hand over to someone else. But suddenly, when everyone wants the answers and it's from you, it's not as if the real work that you did is with the band. It's like the real work you really do is when you split. Impossible, really.
Absolutely, but you went round areas in Europe, in Eastern Europe, and you broke areas whereas before nobody had ever broken.
Sure, right. Well, you know, it's sort of... I'm always pleased that I can go to a territory where it hasn't been done by Genesis, and I can walk in there and people say, oh, that's it, yeah. We know this guy. He plays, he sings, you know. It's like we're not sort of totally concerned with his past, yeah.
Do you feel sometimes annoyed that people in this country don't realise that, in fact, you are bigger in certain Eastern European areas than, in fact, most other bands that there are existing at the moment?
I don't know, because, I mean, I've always got the feeling that however a record does, you know, you kind of go out and play in front of people, and that's the affirmation of it, you know. I mean, however an album does, it always seems to become a success when you play in front of people. So, I mean, to me, that's the real criteria. I don't think it's in terms of actual sales. I don't find it really reflects truly, if you like. And I've been making records for myself for quite some time, so I don't know about the old commercial market, quite honestly.
When you put a band together, what sort of band do you look for?
Well, there's one of your guys, Chaz Cronk, who's with the Strawbs, and I've got a guy called Ian Mosley on drums, Nick Magnus on keyboards, it's my brother on flute, and I mean it's a five-piece, and it's a lot of fun. I think I go for guys who a lot of the time they might be readers, you know, and I find that I'm not actually a reader, but most of what I do it's kind of easier if at times it's written down, because it is very structured stuff and people can say, oh, that's a bit of a brain ape or something like that, you know.
What about acceptance, musical acceptance, or, you know, do you feel that you would like, in the same as the Eastern European area,
wider
would you like a wider appeal, yes, on that front?
Yeah, I mean, I would like a wider appeal, and I feel it's chancy, because some albums that I do really well. I mean, probably like yourself, you know, and you can never really tell which is the album that's going to do it for you. You know, why is it one album does better than another, and it's not always a case of the album that you think is necessarily the best. I think there's a thing where you always seem to say to yourself, the latest is the best. You have to convince yourself of that at the time, because you wouldn't go through the sort of depletion of energy and physical damage that you have to put yourself through to make one.
Would you agree that sometimes through contractual things, either through management or record companies, that sometimes holds up what you try to do?
Well, I think at times it can be dangerous, because I think it's nice when the roles are clear-cut, and unfortunately with Charisma that's the case, whereby the artistic thing is given to the artist. I think it's true, particularly in America, whereby people are so concerned with AOR potential that you know, you'll have A&R guys out there saying to you, I really think that you should do something that sounds like Foreigner. Absolutely. And if it doesn't fit into that mould, what it means is that the American record business can end up cloning itself to death and not really allowing the individual through. And it's a pity, you know, when everyone's following market trend, you know.
I just found out recently you got involved in hang gliding. In fact, wrote a track called Weightless. Is this true?
That's right. Yes, I did. Yeah.
I mean, you're the last person in the world I would associate
would do that. Yeah. Well, I was the last person in the world who I thought would do that, but I happened to be in Brazil.
Up, by the way. Yeah.
Yes. Right. Great. Now. Yeah. I was in Brazil, and the guy said to me one day, you know, you should really should really try hang gliding. And I thought, well, I mean, you have flying dreams and all that, and all the Freudian kind of significance that seems to go with it about sexual frustration and all that, but I don't buy that. I always thought that to be able to fly was a great thing, and it happens in dreams, and that's marvellous. But when you actually try it yourself, and I did a double with this other guy, and there comes a moment, there's a ramp in front of you, you know, it's about 10 feet long, and you run off that into nothing. I really thought I died when I jumped off the thing. It was like the moment until you're caught by the wind. It's like no other experience, because you turn upside down and like you're seeing everything from bird's eye view. So it looks instantly like a Hitchcock film, everything, and you feel, oh my God. And I had to write a song about it because it was.
That comes out on the next album.
That's right, yeah.
Well, one of the interesting things that hopefully GasTank's done is that I've not played with you before. Thoroughly enjoyed putting the piece together.
Yeah, me too.
And the irony is we're both on the same record label,
right.
which for once actually alleviates the problem of two people trying to work together or doing whatever. So within a couple of weeks, you might be able to buy a Hackett Wakeman album, I hope.
We might be doing something together, yes. Right. Yeah.
So, can I plug it now? Right. Hello, you can now buy your Hackett Wakeman album on Charisma Records very shortly for a bargain price. Steve, thanks very much.
Thanks a lot, mate.
Please subscribe and see some of the silly things I get up to, and the musical stuff as well.